Is there anything, Saul, let me ask you, since you're the grassroots guy on the panel, is there anything that you think you can take from the study and use in your current work?
Well, I mean, there's a lot I can take just from sitting on this panel and hearing all the ideas come up. I mean, my notes are all over the place. You know, first of all, let me say, like you referred to it as grassroots, I think I want to thank JESNA for actually looking at complementary or congregational schools at all and asking for someone who represents that world to sit on this panel in the first place. I don't know if this is a first, but it's certainly still unusual to even have supplementary schools taken seriously as a venue. And so I'd say the first thing I'm taking from this is I'm trying to make the school that I work in as good a school as possible. You know, we've got kids in the school who are second, third, fourth generation of congregational school students. You can imagine what that does to a family and the potential that they have for being teachers in the future. It could be damaging based on the history of congregational schools. And I think that's changing now. And I think it's been changing for a while, and I think people are finally noticing that it's changing because so much has changed. And there's a lot more work to be done. So I think the first thing I'm going to do is set up a meeting with Bob Sherman, because a lot of the things that he's talking about doing really resonate for me. You know, talking about the non-graying, not that it's not a problem, the graying of the field. I think that's absolutely right. I think we're going to probably see a lot of real estate brokers and people like that coming into the field. Teachers who are looking for something to do now that they're, you know, just living on their stipends and so on. And I think that's a good thing, but also I want to say, I'm not sure that the, you know, 20-somethings who come into the field for 2 years, that's not an opportunity and that's a problem. I think that, you know, we all in the congregational world picture that part of the reason why we go to those people is we see them as role models of people who have, you know, real jobs and real lives. They're not weird Jewish educator type people who can't do a real job, and so this is the best, you know, those who can't teach, you know, teach in religious school. I think that, you know, the idea to Teach for America, I mean, I think about something like Birthright, which is so successful at bringing people to Israel. But I mean, look, even at the name Birthright speaks a language of entitlement. It doesn't speak a language of volunteerism. And saying to people, you've had this opportunity, you were entitled to this opportunity, now what are you going to give back? I think is a tremendous message for young people today. I think all the studies on, you know, Generation Y are saying that they're looking for places to give back, to be a part of the community, and that the experience, truthfully, of 20 and 30-somethings is they're not invited in. They're not invited to meetings like this. They're not invited into the discussions in the Jewish world. And so creating possibilities for those people even to come to the table and have a voice is going to be, I think, a huge part of creating a field for those people. And then I would just add that I think there's a role for central agencies to do the things that individual congregations can't do on their own. When I started working as a congregational educator, half-time documentary filmmaker, half-time congregational educator, right? And my rabbi saying, you know, you really should take this Jewish educator part seriously because it's a good fallback career if the documentary thing doesn't work out. I got my health insurance through Workman's Circle, you know, and I imagine that that's the case of a lot of other people, if they even have health insurance. Wouldn't it be great if central agencies were able to help people who are trying to make a full-time career out of tutoring here and there and working in religious schools and say, okay, you can also have health insurance, putting this together. And even just helping to build that network. And, you know, so many Israelis in New York City, so many Russians in New York City. I mean, I feel like there are worlds that we're in no way interacting with if we're in kind of the mainstream, mostly Ashkenazi, you know, mostly third generation New York City community. You know, again, there's incredible opportunity of resource there that's not even tapped. So I think there's a lot of possibility out there, but I think it's going to be hard for individual congregations to do it on their own. And it's going to be getting rid of the silos and working together with summer camps and youth movements and foundations and, you know, just being a part of this conversation is a great start.